Have you ever thought about a city as maybe a cultural wormhole?
A cultural wormhole. That's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, a place where different times, different ideas, they don't just sit side by side. They actively mix together, creating something totally new,
Yeah.
really dynamic.
It is an intriguing concept. The idea that a city, a physical place, could sort of bend time and culture, a crucible for new things.
That's exactly what we're diving into today. This deep dive is all about Taipei and, how it's so much more than just a busy modern city.
Right.
Our mission really is to unpack what makes it this crucial nexus point for Chinese modernity, like a unique path for how Chinese culture develops.
It's a different path.
Exactly. We're going to look at how this unique mix of history, ideas, and even actual physical treasures made Taipei this pivotal hub. It challenges the usual views, offers a different vision.
It really does. And what's fascinating, our source material today, Taipei Discourse, it immediately shifts how you think about it.
How so?
Well, it pushes us to see Taipei not as just static, but as this dynamic space where multiple timelines are still very much active, still unfolding.
So history isn't just something in a museum there.
Precisely. It's less about history being preserved and much more about history being alive, actively shaping the present.
Okay, building on that, the Taipei Discourse idea, it really grabs you, this cultural wormhole concept. It suggests you're moving through multiple timelines at once.
That's the idea. It means when you walk around Taipei today, you're not just seeing the city right now.
Okay.
You're sort of moving through this active dialogue with its past. Think about it, maybe a vendor selling really traditional snacks right next to a super high-tech building.
Yeah.
Or a classical Chinese garden just, coexisting with a modern art gallery. It's not just history locked away.
It's part of the vibe, the daily life.
Exactly. It's actively shaping the place, the mindsets. It gives Taipei this real depth, a character that maybe some other modern cities lack because the past is so present. It's constantly talking to the future.
Let's peel back those layers then, because how these threads weave together is really fascinating. The first one takes us way back, late Ming China, the 1500s.
Right. And for many people, that period might sound like, rigid tradition.
Yeah, maybe.
But the source paints a surprisingly different picture. It talks about a time buzzing with personal freedom, lots of coastal trade, even experimental art.
Experimental art back then. Interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't quiet or isolated. It was apparently a time of real cultural energy and outward curiosity.
So what's the significance of those characteristics? Why does that period matter for Taipei today?
Well, as Taipei Discourse points out, these weren't just random trends. They represent this specific, quite robust vein of Chinese cultural vitality. Openness, even. When we talk about personal freedom, it implies, valuing individual expression, a dynamic intellectual scene, different from maybe later, more conformist times.
And the trade.
The vibrant coastal trade, yeah. That shows a China really engaged with the world, connecting globally, especially through the silver trade. An outward-looking spirit.
So it was enclosed off.
Not in the way we sometimes imagine. This era fostered a kind of individualism, an exploratory vibe, and, importantly, a kind of humanism. Emphasizing human agency, reason.
Okay, a specific kind of humanism.
Right. And that foundation, that didn't just vanish. It laid a groundwork that, as we'll see, pops up again later, mixes with other things. It shows a really fertile, less inward-looking period than often thought.
Okay, fast forward a few centuries.
Yeah.
The second timeline. The early Republic of China, so 1910s to the 1940s.
Correct. A time of huge upheaval. Obviously, the Qing dynasty collapses. There's this intense desire to modernize.
Right.
But what's key here, according to our source, is how they tried to modernize. Writers, reformers, they weren't just wholesale adopting Western science and democracy.
No, what were they doing?
They were actively trying to graft these new ideas onto that existing Ming-style humanism we just talked about.
Grafting,
Yeah.
like joining them together.
Exactly. It wasn't about throwing out the past. It was about integrating new, modern concepts with these deep cultural roots, an ambitious project.
It sounds complex, trying to blend those things.
Oh, absolutely. If you look at the bigger picture, this was a really crucial period of intellectual synthesis. Not simple imitation, but a thoughtful, often difficult process.
Trying to make it fit, make it Chinese.
Yes. Think of people like Hu Xi, pushing for modern language and science, but still deeply engaged with classical Chinese thought. The goal was a modernity that was distinctly Chinese, globally aware, but true to its heritage.
Wow. A grand experiment, really.
A grand experiment in cultural evolution, precisely. Trying to find a path forward without losing its soul.
Okay, so we have these two strands. the late Ming openness and humanism, and the early republic's attempt at synthesis.
Yeah.
And then the catalyst, 1949.
Right. The pivotal moment, the moment that really brings this whole cultural wormhole idea into sharp focus, specifically in Taipei.
This is when the nationalist government fled mainland China after the Civil War.
Yes. And they didn't just bring people or, government offices. They brought an entire cultural legacy. It was immense.
What kind of things are we talking about?
Well, the details are critical. Huge numbers of scholars came, bringing their massive libraries, books, manuscripts.
Okay, the intellectual side.
And famously, crate after crate of priceless treasures from the Palace Museum in Beijing, millennia of Chinese civilization packed up.
The jade, the bronzes, the paintings.
All of it. Imagine the effort, the dedication, maybe the heartbreak, too. Moving a civilization's heritage across the sea, unsure if you'd ever go back. It's almost cinematic.
It really is.
And it raises this huge question, right? What actually happens when you concentrate entire libraries, whole intellectual traditions, and these incredibly valuable physical artifacts all into one relatively small city?
Especially after such a traumatic journey.
Exactly. In a new place, under new circumstances.
It's staggering to think about the sheer weight of culture arriving like that. Because the source argues that all of that, the late Ming flair, that humanistic spirit, combined with that Republican ambition, grafting Western ideas onto Chinese roots, plus all those treasures, the books, the scholars, it all just landed in Taipei.
Landed in one compact city. That's the core of the cultural wormhole idea. Not a slow diffusion, but this incredibly dense, powerful convergence.
Concentration of history.
Precisely. And this convergence is why Taipei's role becomes so central, so pivotal. It isn't just some historical accident or, like the source says, a Cold War afterthought.
Right. It's something more active.
Much more. Taipei functions as this dynamic, living, open lab, a place where classical Chinese learning isn't just stuck in archives.
It's interacting with today.
It actively talks to liberal, tech-driven contemporary life. Think about, say, the National Palace Museum holding all those treasures from 49.
Yeah.
They're leaders in digital preservation using augmented reality. You can explore ancient artifacts with cutting-edge apps. That's classical learning, literally talking to tech.
That's a great example. A very Taipei example, maybe.
I think so. It feels unique to how things developed there.
So what does this all mean for Taipei right now, in the 21st century? How does this layering affect its identity today, its role in the world?
Well, it means Taipei is this vibrant, maybe anomaly is the right word. It embodies an alternative way for Chinese modernity to develop.
Alternative path.
Yes. Unlike maybe some other major Chinese cities, Taipei had this unique space, this breathing room, for these different threads, Ming humanism, Republican synthesis, the 49 influx to naturally weave together and evolve.
Without the same political disruptions seen elsewhere.
Right. Things like, the suppression of traditional arts or liberal thought on the mainland at different times. Taipei largely bypassed that. So you have traditional arts flourishing right alongside cutting-edge tech.
And a strong democratic culture, too.
Absolutely. That emphasis on individual freedoms, democratic values, it feels intrinsically linked to its cultural identity now. This ongoing conversation, classical and contemporary, local and global, makes it really distinct.
And this is the Taipei Discourse itself, right? This is the core argument the source wants us to get.
Exactly. This highlights Taipei's singular importance.
The central point.
Yes. The Taipei Discourse basically concludes that Taiwan, and specifically Taipei, isn't on the cultural sidelines at all.
Far from it.
Far from it. Instead, it is the hinge. The hinge that keeps an alternative Chinese modernity alive and actively engaged with the world.
A hinge. That's a strong image.
It really captures it. It emphasizes Taipei's unique position as the critical pivot.
Say that again.
Guanxian Shining. It means the crucial hub, the critical pivot point.
Okay. The critical pivot.
For an evolving Chinese modernity, one that's also in conversation with the rest of the world, it's not just participating, it's actively shaping this distinct, open, dynamic version of Chinese culture that resonates globally. It offers a different story.
Right. A different narrative than maybe the dominant one.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's recap then. What we've explored today is how Taipei's completely unique history, marked by this powerful coming together of different cultural currents.
Late Ming energy, Republican ambition.
Right, all supercharged by that huge arrival of cultural treasures and mines in 1949. how all that forged its identity.
As this dynamic alternative center for Chinese modernity.
A city always reinterpreting its past to shape its future, acting as that crucial pivot, that term for a globally engaged Chinese culture.
That sums it up well. And it leaves us with a pretty fascinating thought, doesn't it?
Which is?
Well, just thinking about how cities like Taipei can be these living archives, but also active laboratories.
Constantly remixing culture.
Yeah, constantly reshaping and reinterpreting legacies in ways that influence not just their own identity, but the whole global conversation. The way Taipei blends its layers, history, and the now, it's a powerful model of cultural evolution.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other cities out there might be acting as similar cultural wormholes, maybe in ways we don't expect.
Where different histories and influences are colliding to create something totally new and globally important.
Definitely something to mull over. Until our next deep dive.